Last week on the Al Nicoletti Show. Hayden, welcome to the show, man. There you are.
One thing you have to do in the foreclosure world is you have to do your homework. You have to do your homework, and you have to do your homework. Bidding on the property is easy, but knowing what you're bidding on, it's always a constant learning process. Now, does the sinkhole happen overnight where they just go ahead and swallow you in? No. Once again, you have people who disrespect this industry, disrespect this game, and disrespect the player. Don't ever disrespect the sinkhole.
Do your homework, and also, I like how you said don't disrespect the sinkhole either.
Two things you have to do. One, you have to look at the property. Two, you have to get inside the property. Do not read the first two sentences. Read the whole story. A lot of times people don't do their homework. It's all about doing your due diligence and doing your homework.
Thank you, Hayden. I could totally see Mike making the last week on the Al Nicoletti Show just a whole bunch of like, do your homework, do your homework.
Do your homework, do your homework, do your own homework.
Do your homework.
You've already done your homework. Did you do your homework? Do your homework.
Make sure you do your homework.
Doing your own homework.
Homework, homework, homework.
Do your own homework. Do your own homework. Do your homework. Do your own homework. But you must go ahead and do your homework.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for dropping all these gems.
Well, thank you for having the show.
Final words, final thoughts on anything.
Listen. Do your homework.
Man, that was so much fun last week with Hayden Warble. We had a blast. I mean, if you couldn't tell, all of what Hayden was talking about was do your homework. So when you're getting into real estate, you got to do your homework. And one thing you definitely got to do is if you missed that episode, you got to go back and check that out. It's on the YouTube channel. You can check it out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Anything that says Al Nicoletti, and then Facebook, Instagram, @Attorney Nicoletti. You'll see the micros come out eventually, but you can catch all that content that's out there and all the amazing guests that have been on the Al Nicoletti Show that are on those platforms. So go check that out. Guys, ladies, you have a great show coming tonight with an amazing guest, Mike Novak. I call him Mr. TikTok, and he is going to talk about so much things when it comes to land investing, getting into it, networking, building relationships, the power of partnerships, and really having that CRM, but really how you could take your side hustle to your full-time side hustle or full hustle. It's going to be a fun show with Mike. He really has tons of value to bring, some crazy stories about his first deal, which we are definitely going to cover. So I can't wait to get started. We're going to introduce him in a second, but we got to rock and roll and do this whole intro. So let's make it happen. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate and beyond, bringing on people that are not just in Florida. And there are people in California, in Texas. Shout out to Texas. Just came back from Ricardo Rosales' event in Texas, in Houston. It was an amazing event, bringing on people that are from Ohio, from New York, and all over that are helping us all level up our game so we can take our business to the next level. On the show today, I have Mike Novak, Mr. TikTok himself. We'll talk about the TikTok thing because it is wild how Mike was revolutionizing that with offloading land deals during the pandemic. And it was crazy while we were on Clubhouse, how he was talking all about that. But we're going to dive in on so much. I mean, what Mike is going to talk about today, he's going to talk about how you make your side hustle a full-time hustle and balancing life, work, and your passions, and talking about scaling and progression in your business and what to do when you hire a virtual assistant, what you're looking for, how you do it, how you get into that. And we got to talk about marketing. So it's really crazy how Mike and I actually connected. And it was during the Clubhouse period. How many remember the Clubhouse period, right? When everybody was on it. Now nobody's on it now. But we had our whole Hive group that was there. And at the time, we were all sharing golden nuggets and gems and what's working. And Mike was talking about how he started using TikTok as a medium for offloading land deals and really getting into the game. So we're going to talk about that and where he's headed with that. I'm sure he's going to be picking up on that soon, but we're going to dive in on all of this stuff in land and networking and power of partnerships. So I'm super excited. I hope you all are too. Participate. I love the fans out there, and let's welcome him to the show. Mike, welcome, man. What's going on?
Hey, Yeah, what's up? How's it going? I'm glad you can add Western Mass to that list now. So, add Massachusetts to your entry list there.
We'll make sure we cover that in the next week on the Al Nicoletti Show. We'll say that we got another part in there, Connecticut, right? So tell us, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, how did you get started in all of this? How did it begin for you? A lot of people, when they get started in either real estate or maybe they're finding their groove, or maybe they're trying to pivot now because the market may be shifting in a different direction. You never know. How did you get started with it, and how did you end up finding your groove to find out where you are today?
Sure. So I would say I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial mindset and just never really knew how to fit in. And I'd say before land investing back in 2016, I had a couple of friends that started doing like an Amazon FBA type thing. And they started telling me about it and explaining it. And for me, anything that has a series of steps that you can put into action and then create something, whether it be a business or whatever it may be, that you can really take these steps and just work on a little bit every night. So a lot of people look at starting a business and they just look at this huge thing, and they look at other people that are already established or might have websites or might be really successful already, but they don't know what went into that. So for me, looking at a series of small steps and being able to accomplish those a little bit at a time is something that I realize is a way to really accomplish big goals. And for me, that started out with starting in 2016 with the Amazon FBA. I mean, probably 50 steps. And I'm married at the time. I had just one kid, or no children at that. But, every night after work, I would just make it a point that for 2 hours, I would do this one step or this next step. And then it's one of those things that you're a month, 2 months down the road, and you look back and wow, how much you've accomplished with that 1 or 2 hours every night.
Amazing. So you started getting into it. You started getting into land. You found land to be really interesting. What was it about land that really intrigued you? Was it the area that you're located in, or was it what some of the Hive members in the clubhouse that they were all talking about, or was it maybe inspiration from a John Alexander, or what got you? What did you see about the land that really piqued your interest as an opportunity?
Sure. So I mean, I didn't really know anything about land. At first, I just knew I wanted to be in real estate. That's something that always kind of was of interest to me. So I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know about wholesaling. I didn't have a lot of cash. I had, a few thousand, and I'm like, well, how am I going to get involved in real estate with such little money? And I remember getting my bonus from work, and I had, some extra money, and I had no idea about the whole land niche as that being something that investors were doing. And I kind of was thinking, I'm like, I could probably buy a piece of land. And I started doing on Zillow, setting up those alerts that came in, and it would say, within your area, within this criteria, send me an alert. And I remember, and this is in the middle of winter, getting an alert. It was 8 acres for sale in the Berkshires of Massachusetts for $5,000. And that's one of those things, like, you don't need to know anything about real estate. You don't need to know anything about land. It's just, wow, 8 acres for $5,000 just seems like an incredible deal. And I remember, once I got that alert, it was just a little bit, I'm messaging that guy, I'm texting him, and he's like, oh, you're number 3. We're showing it on Sunday. You can come take a look, but you're third in line. And I'm like, there's absolutely no way these other 2 people are going to pass this. Like, unfortunately, this isn't going to work. And we actually got to that. It was a Sunday, and he was showing the property, and we had a huge ice storm. And he ended up texting myself and everybody else. He says, this is way overwhelming. I'm getting blown up on my phone. I'm getting way too many calls on this ice storm. We're canceling it. This is too much. I'm going to list it in a couple months again. And I said, absolutely not. And to myself, and then, hopped in my truck and said, if I go down there, take a look at this, and it's something I'm interested in doing, and I messaged you back and said, put this under agreement. Can we do this? He goes, absolutely. So our drive turned into about a 2-hour drive due to the conditions. Looked at it, ended up getting that one under a verbal agreement because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have an agreement. I didn't have anything like that. And pretty much next day I was calling a local attorney to figure out how to put an agreement, get that thing under contract, and eventually go through the process of purchasing that property.
Amazing. Cause I remember you were talking backstage about this with me. Like, you drove through the ice storm, you almost lost the deal and you got the deal. And then you didn't know how to offload it and you made all these crazy things. And what was going through your head during the ups and the downs? And, looking back now, what you wish you would have done during that situation? I mean, you ultimately got the deal, right? But like, what was going through your mind? Was your mindset of, overcoming some of these challenges and what you would have done?
Sure. And, looking back now, I would say I was completely overthinking a lot of things. I was looking at this and saying, "Oh, well, I go in there and do a perk test now. I need to hire a realtor to figure out how to sell this thing." And at that time, I wasn't even in Facebook groups to understand that you could kind of sell things on Facebook. I was on Craigslist trying to sell it, and I was just getting a lot of messages there, and everybody was asking me about owner finance. I had no idea how to owner finance a property myself or anything there. So it ended up being a long, drawn out process of dealing with a number of tire kickers. And then I ended up going through an attorney this attorney was in my best interest trying to me, but with it being such a small deal, tearing away the seller, trying to put too much detail into a low dollar value deal. And in the end, we ended up kind of simplifying it, getting it, and failed the perk test, paid about $1,600 to get that done. That failed. My realtor decided she didn't want to represent me anymore once it passed because she didn't feel as buildable. So there was a lot of different hurdles that we kind of struggled with. And then finally, started talking to more people, and we ended up finding a buyer. And even the story of her buying the property is funny, as she showed up to my bank with Ziploc bags of actual cash. When I think about a cash deal, I was always thinking about, a wire or a cashier's, not a literal cash deal, but that's what happened. And we ended up, after discussions, meeting at Starbucks and things like that. I said, I don't think that's going to happen. Let's meet at my bank. Let's get this counted. And we actually did the deal in the parking lot, and that was it.
Wow, nice. You mentioned some interesting points about the perk test. First, tell everybody like what that is, but also, wetlands. That's a situation that comes up a lot more with land than people think. Saw a deal recently that they all thought it was going to be, buildable lots, and they were going to do something with it, and then all of a sudden, in comes the environmental test, only to find out there's a portion of it that's going to be wetlands, and for there to be some kind of EPA permit or some kind of thing with the EPA, it was going to be a huge dollar amount to do anything with the buildable lot. So what's the perk test, and what are some of those pointers that you learned about wetlands?
Sure. So, and this property was 8 acres, and I would say about 4 of it ended up being wetlands. The perk test is a test they do for the soil to see how quickly the water is absorbed, and it's a determination to be able to get the leach field in a septic tank. So it's a prerequisite of being able to be approved for a septic, to go move forward with a septic design. And unfortunately, we kept just barely, and I mean, we were out there for hours and hours, and horse flies and all that fun stuff. And unfortunately, we didn't pass. And with a past perk on that property would have upped the value a decent amount. And fortunately, I was able to still sell it. We had a good feeling that it was going to perk in another spot, or maybe more in a different season, more in the fall with the leaves open and being able to get more sun in the soil in the areas we were looking. So that, and with it being a larger acreage, the end buyer that it ended up going to felt comfortable that they would still be able to get it perked, and we thought so as well. So we kind of put that within the agreement, understanding that we knew we had a failed perk, and that we were stating that we knew that, and still went forward with the deal, got it done. So worked out great.
Yeah, because I've heard stories even like in the if you're close to the Everglades area, you're not just dealing with wetlands, you're also dealing with endangered species. whether it's a certain type of thing, and it happens a lot with land. A lot of people don't know about that kind of stuff. So, what are some other things that you can think of that you learned a lot with dealing with land deals that, going forward, you already have an eye for this and this and this to make sure that you could sift through, right? Because your time is valuable, Mike. Your time is valuable in getting these deals, or even if you want to buy them and assign them out, or maybe there's a buyer that's interested in your land. What are some other tips and tricks that you can share or shed light on that would help when you come across this stuff?
Absolutely. So we kind of have like a quick due diligence list, and then we have a more in-depth due diligence list. And our quick due diligence list is that, initial looking at a property and being able to filter it in or out and determine if it's something you want to pursue, or kind of adjust your offer based on pretty much what the property is. So what we look at initially is topography. We look at the wetlands. We see if it's in a floodplain. We're also looking to see what the access is. Does it have dual access? We're looking for utilities. We're looking for the shape of the property. Is it similar to other properties around it as well? And those are our main points that we're looking at initially at the property. Also utilities, to see what's around there. And if it kind of passes that initial sniff test, that's when we're going to move on and pretty much go and try to make an offer on the property. And after that, we would go into our next level of due diligence and be more of calling the counties, looking at any kind of back taxes, and really going into that next level of due diligence.
Yeah, I remember on one of the clubhouse calls that we had, Bhaskar, he was talking about, being careful with landlocked properties, how sometimes you may pick up a deal, but it's landlocked, and now you're trying to get an easement or, deal with another neighbor to try to get something like that. And I know that has its challenges, because initially it looks like a great deal, right? But then it's landlocked, and you got to find a way to like compensate for that access. So I know that's I'm sure that's in something else. But, something else that you and I both talked about was we live in the world now of virtual deals, doing deals more virtually than ever. And, it's great to look, topography, look down on a Zillow, or look down on whatever software you got. But ultimately, you got to see what the property is like, and the importance of having boots on the ground when you come across this deal. Tell us all about that.
Absolutely. So, we definitely go virtual. I've only done a handful of deals within my own state here where I've seen them. So the majority of our deals are virtual. And I've had my shares of instances where boots on the ground is very valuable. And there's different ways of getting these boots on the ground. It's either someone with a market. A lot of the times when we first get under agreement, we like to get a drone pilot there, and we're going to use that for our marketing. But at the same time, we can use that as someone to go there and give us, a bit of a ground level view of it, give us some more feedback there as well. And, we've had a couple deals where maybe we haven't done the full due diligence of getting some boots on the ground there. And one, I can give two recently in Texas that we've done where one, from every topography, we use MapRight as our software, which can really give you a quick look at the wetlands and the topography. And everything looked great from the view on the maps. But then when we actually got someone there, it had a lot of gullies in it, had a lot of standing water. So we were able to kind of really go back and reassess that deal, renegotiate it, and get it at a better price. And then that one actually even went to another level where title wasn't able to go through on it, and we ended up having to do a quick claim on it. So we weren't even going to pay that amount, and we ended up picking this thing up for, I think, under $2,000, all said and done, and then moved it really quickly. So, you really look to see what the issues with what the property are, and then be able to use those as a negotiation tactic to kind of go ahead and either completely move off of the deal or come back in and really make a better offer that's going to work for you, where you think you can still make a deal happen.
Yeah, finding somebody on the ground that can actually help with that, help with the visuals, because you don't want to find out that there is standing water, right? If you look from the top down, there's all trees, but then when you really get down there, all of a sudden you find the standing water and maybe some wetland stuff that you didn't know. That's huge out there, right? So and it's amazing. I feel like your first deal kind of packaged like so much of like everything all in one that kind of elevated you to like your next level, right? And if you noticed, we're taking your deal from a side hustle to full-time hustle, and you took that one deal, multiplied it into all your other deals that you're doing. And I mean, you built out your company, you built out your structure, you built out your partnership. What was it like building out the proof of concept, starting to hire VAs and starting to scale your business and, learning more about these systems and, going to conferences and networking more? What was that elevation like? How did you start taking off that way?
Sure. That first deal took some time. And I didn't have a lot of background. I wasn't in any of the Facebook groups. I didn't know that this was a niche. And then as I was working on that deal, I started, doing my research and discovering that this is a big niche. So I was in the RE tipster groups and Land Academy, and in there just started meeting people and talking with people. And so I ended up joining a class initially, and I would say through the class, it was a lot of it I had learned on my own YouTube, but then there was this like 10%, this 15% gave me this confidence to go ahead and move forward. And I started out with letters. So for me, working full time, at this time, I think my son is born. So, working full time, have a newborn son, and trying to figure out how to work my full-time job and get the side hustle going. So what I would do is we were doing a lot of mailers. So I would just send out mailers, and then I had like a Google Voice phone number, and it would just go to voicemail. So people would call me back, go to voicemail. At night, I would be looking up the properties, trying to comp them, trying to figure out, prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow at my lunch break, I'm calling these 4 people, and we're gonna get a deal happening. So that was my life for a while. It was really trying to, up till 1 a.m, trying to run. Well, at this point now, I'm learning how to run lists and get lists out and get them in the mail, and then analyzing deals that are coming in, and then working the next day. So we did that for a while, and was getting some deals, working on the lower end ones. And then I think it really started progressing. From there, I met Anthony and the Hive, and that really, I would say, took the business, Anthony and Daniel at the Hive, and really took my business to a level, because now I realized other marketing techniques. So now all of a sudden we're JVing with each other, and all of a sudden now we're introducing a CRM, and we're introducing texting. So these are things that I hadn't known about previously. I mean, I've seen a lot of the house wholesaling guys doing it, but it wasn't something I was really comfortable with until we moved in there. And I would say that the JVing was a big thing too. So to add on to the boots on the ground, having someone in a market that's familiar with that market on top of that gives you a confidence. And a quick story of that is one of the first deals I did with Anthony and the Hive was, there was a 10-acre property outside of San Antonio, and a guy wanted $100,000 for it. I was like, I had no idea what it was worth. And, with Texas being a non-disclosure state, I had a hard time trying to find comps and really didn't know what to do. So I remember calling Anthony up, and I'm like, what do we do here? He's like, let's try to get it for 80. And I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do. So we try to work that out, and really pissed the guy off. The guy was not happy. He's like, I said hundreds where we had to be. And anyway, we get through all that. So we end up, passing it off, and we have another member of the Hive contact the seller, and we were able to get the deal done. And eventually we kind of all combined in and shared on the deal there. So it was a group effort. It didn't work out for me, worked out for someone else, and Anthony was able to also come in and do some due diligence for us. So it was a real team effort, and from there we've done a few other deals also, and always been great.
Isn't that amazing that, you're doing your whole thing with land, and then that takes you on a journey to find, the groups, and then be a part of the Hive mind, right? And then, and work and partner with Daniel and Anthony, right? So shout out to the Hive. I know the Hive's watching tonight. Shout out to the whole Hive. Anthony, Daniel's out there. And I know Yogi's out there. Frank, he's watching. The Hive community has been so powerful. right? The members that are in it, the value that comes from the hive, and everybody's doing deals, whether it's Florida, Texas, Georgia, anywhere, Mass. I mean, anywhere. That's huge value. So, what have been some of the biggest, takeaways on the networking side of things, being a part of this community, being a part of like the hive itself? Like what have you seen grow more by, investing and pouring into the hive?
Yeah, it's funny, Tro mentioning Clubhouse, and like, I mean, we were like on Clubhouse when that first came. I remember when, like, we were begging for invites. I'm like, does someone have an invite? Does someone have an invite? Can you let me in? I need to get on this Clubhouse. And I remember like some of the first nights we were on there like 4 hours straight, and just talking and just talking real estate. And I mean, everyone you named, it was, out there, and it's just like unbelievable. We had these deep conversations. I remember being up to like 3:30 in the morning one some of the first nights on Clubhouse, and it was unbelievable. And I hope that we kind of get back to that. And I know we're trending back to that, but that networking was great. I learned so much. Just understanding that there's other people, just knowing what your weaknesses are and what other people's strengths are, and being able to just really match those two is a big thing. And even not even strengths, just things you don't like to do, and finding someone who does like to do those and bringing those together. And then it's also, you would rather do more deals and work with people and split the profits than try to do everything yourself. Like, I was a solopreneur through this for the first year, and really just trying to do it. And I was trying to figure out how to do everything myself versus trying to figure out who is out there that can help me do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And partnering with the right people for sure in that group has been massive. What about the CRM? Like, so if you really want to scale your business, you want to scale what you're doing, JV with people that are in that area, that's going to help a lot. Keep doing deals, and we'll talk about a little bit of the marketing, right? But talk to us about, what have been some of the advantages and some of the, either the struggles or the things that you've learned so much about having the hive, the CRM, and really building it out to work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So by trade, for 13 years, where I was working as a lead data management consultant. So I'm very data analytical, very good at data efficiencies, things like that. But everything I was doing was held on spreadsheets and just kind of all over the place. And, really getting into CRM, I thought really helped organize my business, made me have everything in one place and just be able to go back and reference old conversations or listen to phone calls. And I think that really helped. And it was just the scaling in general. I was doing a lot of mail, but now being able to introduce the texting and the calling or those different kinds of marketing mediums were huge. And that was really the next thing that really catapulted what I was doing. So it was really, I took a class, started doing mailings. Okay, now we're in the hive, starting to meet people. And now it's like, okay, we can do this other marketing. So at this point, I think with the hive going, my wife was pregnant, so my daughter's about to be born, and we're working through the hive, and me and my wife are kind of splitting doing the texting. Like, we're at home, she's, we're kind of both doing it, and then realizing, okay, once the baby was born, thankfully I was able to have a long paternity leave. So at that point, I realized, okay, I'm going to be going back to work. There's no way that I can continue doing this whole texting thing and everything. How am I going to scale? And two things happened there. First of all was hiring a virtual assistant. And I know we'll get into this a little bit more, but hiring a virtual assistant was probably one of the best things that ever happened to my land investing. And then the other great thing was meeting my partner Yasir. So met him through the hive and through Clubhouse as well. And that has really been able to catapult us as well, because we both kind of have things we like to do and not like to do, and it really works well together, and we're able to kind of pick each other up when we're down. So two people doing marketing, it's really great when one person's not hitting, the other one is, and we're able to kind of work together, and that's been absolutely great.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to dive in that right now, actually, because it's right at the forefront. But Mike, we definitely got to talk about work-life balance. I mean, being around family and then working, and then having gone from the night. Are you full-time real estate? Are you full-time
Yes.
now?
So I quit my job of 14 years just back in March of this year.
Wow, congratulations. Awesome,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
I didn't know. I was like, wait a second. I heard the 9 to 5, but I'm like, that's awesome. You know how many people strive to do that? I mean, Bhaskar was just talking about that a month or so ago, that he finally had so many deals in the pipeline and systemized his whole process that he could quit the 9 to 5 or leave, and he doesn't have to be a 9 to 5 and run his own shop and have the freedom. Now you can be with the kids and stuff. So we'll dive in on that, but we got to know about the importance of hiring a VA. So I was just at Ricardo Rosales' event this past weekend, and one theme that came up so much from Ricardo and a lot of the speakers was, hiring the VAs and building the system out that way, because you want to make sure that, even if a VA leaves, you have processes and systems where they can watch what to do or how to do it, and you can make these videos. So first of all, what was the experience in the beginning about finding a VA? What do you do to find the right VA? And what's some of the training that you had to implement and you had to tweak over time to perfect that system?
Sure. And I think, first of all, it's recognizing when you're ready to have a VA. And I think you need to understand your business and what you want to do in all parts of it to be able to explain it to someone else to go in and do it. So the thing is, some people think about getting a VA. They think they're going to hire a VA and they're going to hit the ground running and they're going to be great. And it's not that easy. So there's different levels of virtual assistants out there. You can get them as low as $4 from Fiverr or Upwork. And then there's also some agency services where you can pay a little bit more, and it may come with a little bit of a background, or you might get some kind of help as far as payroll and administration services there, or have an account manager. So another great contact of ours, Daniel Saltzman, I went through his company of VA Meetly, and they've been great. And my virtual assistant, I don't even like to call her virtual assistant. She's team. She is an absolute all-star, and we wouldn't be able to do it without her. So she's been great. And just going back to, they're not going to hit the ground running. So you need to understand that your virtual assistants will be as good as you're able to train them. So it's very important. And, I know if Yogi on here watch, I know Yogi's huge into this, the standard operating procedures and really documenting everything. So, and I mean, there's nobody that enjoys doing that. I don't know, maybe there is, but I don't enjoy doing that. But it's one of these things that you do it. Just go ahead. You're doing your process, and you don't even need to necessarily document it all the time. You could sometimes just do your Loom video and show what your process is, and then send that to virtual assistant and say, could you document this process for me? Things that's doing is it's kind of passing off that task, so you don't have to do it. And at the same time, I think that really helps with the retention of being able to, what they're doing, come back, put it in writing, and then at the same time that helps them formulate questions as well and helps you identify any gaps. So we continue to, she has a main objective every day, and that's really marketing. So outbound marketing. And she was part-time for a while, and then a few months ago we ended up going full-time, and now she helps with a lot of data work and some actual initial due diligence and some screening. So we have our time split between outbound marketing, and then in the mornings and kind of the last hour of the day, she's doing cleanup, following up, doing some initial due diligence and some data as well. Also puts listing on my website and a number of other things as well. But she's absolutely
a lot of things that, one, you don't have the time to do anymore, and two, if you were still doing that, you couldn't scale your business, right? You couldn't take it to another level. So I thought that was interesting that you pointed out, which was, you can make the Loom videos for them, but then they can actually build out some stuff actually to help anybody else that comes after, or if you build out the team. So how many VAs do you have right now?
just one VA.
Okay. So eventually, are you planning to build out more? Are you going to get more people on the team?
I think so. I think might end up having like a more of an acquisition manager or someone that can kind of move it along and things like that. Still in discussions about that, trying to figure out what our next steps are. So we feel like recently she's been so good, but we're throwing a lot at her. So we're trying to just kind of figure out what that balance is. And we're trying to still figure that out.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, whatever works for you and how you build it out, however fast you want to go. Same thing for everybody out there. You go at your own pace, right? If you want to take on more, you have to have more deals in the pipeline, but you can build that out. And like Mike's talking about, there's a process to doing it. I know a lot of the guys and ladies that are in these groups that are building out systems that have a lot of VAs. So that's going to be huge. And if you didn't notice, everybody that's watching, if you did notice, we're saving the TikTok marketing for the end. Because we want to make sure everybody stays tuned for the secrets behind the TikTok marketing. So don't go anywhere. That's going to be huge. Mike, another thing that you brought up, which was partnerships. There's good, there's bad. There's finding the right partner. There's people that dive in on partnerships and they realize, wait a second, that wasn't going to be the right fit. I mean, so many people talk about that. And some people get really lucky. Like I have Mark and Dominic on my show about 4 weeks ago, and these guys they're young, but they are the ultimate complement to each other as partners. And then you have some people that are doing this stuff on their own because they had the partners and they realized that, they're pulling all the weight, so tell us, like, how did that whole thing happen with Yasir? And, what are some of the things that you noticed that were needed in the partnership? What did you find as the positives to getting in that sustain it?
Right. Yeah. And I definitely agree. Finding a partner and, kind of going into that formally is not something you want to just jump into. You don't want to just say, see someone and like, oh yeah, let's do it and let's partner up. I think you really want to make sure that you've worked with the person. You want to understand that what their commitment is to this, that this isn't just a fly by night thing, and just understanding their work ethic and things like that. So the way that Yasir and I ended up getting together was I had a deal in Park County, Colorado, and it wasn't an area I was really familiar with, and it was a deal that was a little bit more money than I was comfortable with as well. So I think from there I ended up reaching out to him, knowing that he had done a number of deals there, and we ended up talking through that one, ended up getting it done, and I think we worked so well together. It was like a 50-50 thing. We both did, half of the work and got that thing done. And that was like, it was one of the easiest, best deals that we did that year. And it was incredible. And then I would say it was about a month or two later, he had ended up bringing me a deal that was in Massachusetts, knowing that I was here and thinking we could get that one done. And that one dragged on for a bit, but also it was another fantastic deal. And, through that, we continued to just really complement each other with the work we were doing. And at this time, when we first started, I was still working my day job. So a lot of things that kept coming in, it was great that I could, lean on Yasir a lot and say, hey, I got a lot of stuff coming in. You mind taking a look at this now? And then I'll hop in tonight and look at it more. So, and I think through the number of deals that we did and this, how well we worked together, we realized that this was a great opportunity. And we said, let's do it. Let's team up and go for this for the long haul.
Yeah, I remember backstage you were telling me about like even some of the moments where you were having some of the highs and maybe he was having some of the lows. You were able to complement each other. Like, maybe he had the highs and you had the lows, and it just kind of built each other up, right? So that plays a role as well. And there's definitely a power to it if it works out the right way. So people think that just, hey, let's just partner up and do this. I think it's one thing to JV. I think it's another thing to be partners, like, with a company. I mean, there's a lot of dynamic and trust and vision that goes into that as well. I mean, you got to also be on the same path and equally balanced and complement each other, right? I mean, I can think of so many people that are doing it in the right way. So love that you're doing it with Yasir, and love that, let's say it again, Clubhouse, another sprout that came from Clubhouse. What do you know right there? So
yep, definitely did.
That's huge. That's huge. I mean, look at Anthony and Daniel, right? Partners in the hive. I mean, Anthony does something completely, Daniel does something completely else. Daniel loves more of the systems, and Anthony's out doing a lot of the deals. And I mean, it works out that way. And I think that's great. So, Mike, something that we brought up before, and a lot of new investors, a lot of people that are in their 9 to 5 and still doing their side hustle have a challenge with is the work-life balance, and personal business. But, many have kids. I had Zach Woldridge on my show. He's super dad. He's got 4 kids and he's doing deals, and he's, holding the kid, talking about a deal. And it's like, it's crazy, like how much you got to balance in everything that you're doing, and taking time off, or, taking vacation. How do you do that? How have you progressed into doing it better? And what are some great tips and advice that you have out there for people that need to learn how to take a step back and balance the two better?
Sure. And I'll say, obviously COVID has been really rough on a lot of people, but at the same time, it's really opened some opportunities, and it's also given us a whole different way of working. So the things that was great for me was, with my job, I was completely remote at home. So they wouldn't let us in the office. And so I would, where I'm sitting right now, I would have my work laptop, and I would have my business, like my land laptop over here, my personal one. So, and I worked on a lot of big projects. So I had the opportunity where I didn't have to be 100% at my job. So I was really, kind of 50-50ing day to day, running both businesses, throughout this COVID period. Obviously that's not available for everybody. So that kind of worked out well for me. And then when I was able to go out on paternity leave, when my daughter was born, that's where I was like, okay, I got this, 2 months. I need to, figure out all my system done. So I took full advantage of that time to make sure that that's where I got the virtual assistant. That's where I was on live and really laid out what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it. The way I was able to balance it before kind of all that, and what my suggestion would be to people who may not necessarily be able to do that during the day and be able to balance both of them, is what I was doing. It's either you need to hire someone, you need to get a virtual assistant to be in the day and be able to work that for you. And, or for me, it was sending the mailers. So I didn't ever answer the phone myself. It always went to voicemail, and I was just, I didn't sleep a lot. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I had to get on, and unfortunately, the sleep went away for that. So I was up probably 1, 2 in the morning every night, up at 6 a.m. To get the kids out to daycare and things like that, and then work the day job, and just kept rinsing and repeating until I felt had good enough proof of concept, enough money, and I was at that point where I said, you know what, this is happening. We're doing really well. We're going full time.
Amazing. Yeah. After a while, I'm sure, like 1 to 6, the 1 to 6. I mean, you're out all day. Did you ever feel like a burnout at some point, that you were just like, I gotta pause this. I gotta change systems, right? Because so many, I heard something this past weekend about, like, you can keep doing it over and over, and the hustle over and over, but after a while, you could just really burn yourself out, and you don't want to get to that point. Otherwise, you want to have that balance, that pace. Did you ever feel that at any point?
Yeah, and it was tough, it was that, and I still have my e-commerce business. So in the fourth quarter, I was still doing a good amount of work with that, and I had some people helping me with that. Definitely got burnt out, but it's about knowing what you want, and kind of a little bit of a sacrifice for it. I knew it was temporary. I knew it wasn't going to be something. And I say I knew it was temporary. I still stay up till like 1 in the morning working on things, just because it's just how I like to do it. But I definitely felt it. I would take like a half an hour nap at lunch, sometimes, and just, be back at it. But it was a sacrifice I knew I needed to make in order to business where it needed to be, and ultimately be able to leave my 9 to 5.
Amazing. Awesome. I mean, you know what? It's working out and you're doing great by it. I mean, you got your company, you got your partnership. It's blowing up. You know, everybody out there, I see everybody watching. Again, I love that Robert Rodriguez, hey, he jumped on the webinar today. I loved it, Robert. Robert Rodriguez is out there. Daniel, Yogi. I mean, Yogi, you got to drop and tell everybody how the launch was this past weekend. I heard it was a great success. Frank's out there. Elijah's watching. What's going on, man? Elijah's out there. Elo Mello, he's out there. And Scott, you didn't miss anything yet. I mean, if you jumped in now, go back to start from the beginning. Anybody that jumped in late, you got to go back and start from the beginning because Mike was definitely talking about some golden nuggets when it comes to land investing. But the good news is you haven't missed the TikTok secrets to land marketing. So we haven't gotten there yet. But if you got any questions for Mike, we're live. He will answer them. We're here. We're going to dive in on the marketing side to things because this is what everybody wants to know about. How do you really market your deals? What are some of the best ways to find those end buyers so you can get those deals and get some great assignment deals? Mike, so before we get to TikTok, what have been, aside from TikTok, what have been some of the best marketing strategies you've been able to implement in your business as far as like direct mail, cold call? I don't know if you like the texting stuff, but like what have been some of the most effective, best use of your time marketing skills?
Sure. So we're talking about on the purchasing side here.
Either side.
So we definitely, yeah. So we're doing a direct mail. We do some Google pay-per-click, and also the text messaging is that. And then just various other things. Working with realtors and getting them to kind of advise and things like that. That's really on the acquisition side, and then we can talk about the disposition as well.
Yeah, well, so I think disposition, we're getting to the TikTok area, but like, so some of those were your best methods for really getting those deals. Now, tell us, Mr. TikTok, what has been some of the best ways of dispositions, unloading the deals? What were some of the secret methods you were doing? How did you find that TikTok? Because I think at the time you were posting this stuff, remember TikTok was like really gimmicky with dances, and during the pandemic, everybody was like doing something crazy and stupid. But here you come, just posting a little video of land with some music in the background. What was going through your mind? Like, how did you figure that out? And tell us some of the secrets behind really marketing your properties and dispoing them off TikTok.
Sure, yeah. I would say I started probably with all the Facebook marketplaces as ways of disposing property. So like everyone else, a marketplace, and that definitely worked well. And we also use realtors now a little bit more with our higher end properties. But as far as social media, I mean, if it's free, so you have your Instagram, you have your Facebook, you have YouTube, TikTok, all this, it's free. I mean, if you using all the different social media platforms, then you're really missing out on some opportunity. And TikTok was one of those things that, to me, I thought it was a gimmick too. I remember we were in one of these like not a mastermind call, but a bunch of us investors. We were talking, and I remember it was my buddy Pono, and he's like, man, you got to get on TikTok. He's like, that's where it's at. And I'm just like kind of laughing at him. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like everyone thinks like, what are you out there doing dances, this and that? He's like, no, there's so much free traffic. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm gonna create a TikTok account. And I did it, and just started putting some videos out there, and a couple of them I got like 500,000 views on them, and it was just like absolutely amazing to me. So there's a few things that go into it, I think, in general. So with TikTok or any social media, I feel like you need to add value to people. You can't just be out there, hey, I'm selling land. Here's another property. Here's another property. I would like to do a video. Hey, do you understand how to read a topography map? No? Well, this is how you do it. And then you can kind of go ahead and show, here's how you look at topography, blah, blah, and people are like, wow, I didn't know that. Or, hey, did you know that each one of your counties has a GIS, and here's what you can do and how you look at it and how you can research your property. And then all of a sudden your next video is, oh, I got this beautiful property for sale, blah, blah, blah. So it's a lot of building trust, a lot of building rapport, that I'm going to give you an education on how to make an educated decision on buying land or looking at land. And by the way, I also have land for sale. So here you go. So I think that worked out really well. And then I think TikTok in general is it just has way more viewers than any of our other social media platforms at that time anyway. And I really felt that it was a catalyst for your other social media. So from there, really create a business account within there and created a link tree. So a link tree allows you to have a single link in which, when you click on it, opens up to multiple links that can go to your other websites or social media accounts, or maybe a form with an email capture and things like that. So, you put that in there, and when you're getting these 5 million views, and or not 5 million, but 500,000 views, and you're over here saying, oh, make sure you check me out on YouTube, check me out on IG, oh, it's in my link tree, and people start clicking on it. And if you have a YouTube channel and you don't have a TikTok, I mean, create a TikTok, put your link to your YouTube, and I'm guarantee your YouTube will go up in viewership and subscribers. So I think it's just been a great catalyst to all your other social media accounts and really getting that following.
Very cool. Yeah, Linktree. I think you talked about that a lot on the Hive calls, which was having that ability to cross-reference, and then people find out about this and this and this, and they'll check it out. Mike, what did you notice as being some of the most effective videos that you did do for Land Dispo? Did you put music in the background? Did you do it really quick, or flash and bang? Or, did you ever, test out different styles, or did you just keep it like a standard video of panning the land? What did you find as what drew more attention and more messages in the inbox?
Yeah. Mine was really just quick cuts. So I'm literally at my, laptop with my cell phone, and I'm recording the website. And I had a few catchphrases. I'm all, started out the one, I'm like, new one. And, it'd go in some quick cuts, and it was more fun for me. I was just kind of out there just making these cool videos, and, I would just make some funny comments. Sometimes I'm like, oh, here's a picture of it from the front. Here's a picture from the other side. Oh, check out that. And, just really having some fun with it. And, you get some viewership, and, people start commenting, and every time someone commented, I would be on that thing, and I was like commenting back right away. And I don't know necessarily how all the algorithms work, but I know if you're engaging and people are engaging with you, the more and more you keep that back and forth communication going, the more people that are going to send to your pages or your posts. So also another thing I like to do is look to see when social media platforms come out with new things. So like Instagram came out with I think the reel afterwards, and then YouTube came out with the shorts. And I think those are both in competition to try to, take away from TikTok a little bit, because it's a very similar type concept. So whenever they would introduce that, well, then I'm going to go over to those platforms and use those, because that they're going to be sending people to them, because they want to kind of get that market share away from TikTok. And also, when they out new features, whether it be, you can add stickers, or you can it'll dictate what you're saying like on the screen and all that. I just felt that using as many of the options or the different features that they provide to you would also kind of boost your engagement. And I just feel that these social media platforms want you to use those, and they are going to reward you for using them. Don't know if that's true, but that's the way I know about it.
That's interesting how the algorithm works, but they want you to use. And I remember hearing something about if you post TikTok on Reels, you don't get the same kind of viewership. Reels wants you to post an original post. It's like crazy stuff like that. But I think it's fascinating. So have you been using TikTok still for Dispo on Land? Like, I remember for a while you kind of scale back on it, but are you planning like a whole revamp, a whole new rollout of just constantly using that as the medium?
Yeah, so it's definitely still use it. I haven't done as much education as I should have been, and it's just a thing with competing priorities at the moment with number one for us is always outbound marketing, getting as much deal flow as we can, and then from there everything else is secondary. But I do need to get back to it. I need to get the content flowing a little bit more. I definitely still use it, and I sold 6 or 7 deals on TikTok, and they were some of my kind of lower properties, and we've kind of went up market a decent more. So it's a little bit different of a concern we're going after, but I still think it's very applicable to it. And definitely looking to get back in it strong.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. You gotta keep showing us this stuff on Facebook and maybe YouTube about like tutorials about like how it's worked. And I'm sure so many people out there. I mean, how many of you out there watching would love to know more about how to dispo land off TikTok or market your deals on social media more, right? I'm sure so many people would want to learn how to do that. And Mike has effectively done that. It's crazy. I still remember when we were all like, what? We were checking it out. And it was like, you're like, yeah, I'm having major success with that. It's like, it's crazy. So I hope you keep doing that. Cause you're killing it right now with everything. So Yasir's watching. There he is. Yasir, he says, Mike's the man. Yeah, that's the partner, right? There he is. See, and that's great. That's the idea, is that you have people that are supporting you. You see her supporting, and I hope you guys keep getting those deals and partnering on deals. Mike, off guard question. It's a new thing that I've been doing on the show. So I don't know where you see things going in the market, but where do you see things heading right now with a lot of the interest rates? And I even heard that some hedge funds have stopped buying properties from wholesalers, or scaling back, and they're just taking a little pause right now. Where do you see things going?
Well, I guess I don't know where I see things going, and we're specifically on the land, so we don't do I'd say a lot of our purchasers are cash buyers, or we do some financing. So I don't know that a lot of borrowing is occurring for some of our properties. But for us, I think we just have a general rule of thumb that you need to make sure that we're buying good and we're buying quality properties. So for us, it's not out quantity. We don't care if there's 100 deals a year. I'm fine doing 10 deals a year as long as the money's there. So I think for us, it's really just making sure that we're buying good, and that we're making really good decisions, and not overpaying for anything right now. We do buy a lot of our properties for cash, so maybe scaling back a bit of actually purchasing these properties, so we don't have anything that we're holding for a long period of time. So more of identifying our end buyer, whether it be a builder or another investor or a retail buyer, that we can really move this property without actually purchasing it. So it's just really making sure that we're being smart about it during these times, buying good, and not holding on to anything too long.
Yeah, because you want to keep it moving. You want to keep them off the books. If you don't want to keep it, you gotta get them out, and finding the right buyer for it too. I mean, I don't know. Does that even mean maybe taking a less assignment fee?
Definitely it could. And I mean, it's just playing the market, making sure that we are buying good, and just really not taking any risks on properties right now. So that's just our main goal.
Yeah, love it. Love hearing everything that you're doing, Mike. I mean, it's amazing. I got to meet you the first time at the Hive Mind conference last year. It's amazing. It's such a different experience when you've been on a virtual app that's got no images or no visuals, only audio, to meeting in person. And love hearing about your journey. Love what everything is going on in the Hive, and learning about all the partnerships that have taken place. I had Donna asked the question. She says, where are you buying?
So I think what's great about us, and a lot of people like to focus in a specific area, or they like to play in their backyard, or they want to put eyes on these properties. We're absolutely nationwide. We will buy anywhere in the country, pretty much excluding Vermont due to the land gains tax there. But other than that, I think we've seen about 26 states currently. So we're kind of not afraid to go anywhere. And I think that's what keeps us dynamic and keeps us able to do a lot of deals. And what we do is we really lean on these land-specific realtors. We're happy to go into an area we have no idea about, but then we're going to just really get the opinions of some professionals, boots on the ground, make sure it's a deal before we kind of do anything moving forward. But yeah, we're anywhere.
Look at that. Anywhere. Mike, awesome stuff. Tons of value, tons of golden nuggets out there. Mike, before we wrap up the show, I want you to talk about final words, final thoughts, anything land investing, work-life balance, anything that's a hot topic for you that that's on your mind when it comes to a lot of the systems and processes that you've implemented, marketing, TikTok, anything. Final words, final thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's really just pulling the trigger and go and get something done. No analysis paralysis. Don't sit back over analyzing things. Like there's a lot of people I think that look at different, whether it be land or anything else, and they really want to just educate, and they're afraid to take that first step. So go out there, go make a mistake, go fail quickly, understand what you did wrong and change it. And it's really about just, really taking action and going out there, not being afraid. So, send those letters, get it out. You're afraid to talk to someone. Well, guess what? Send those letters. Someone's going to call. You're going to have to talk to them. Afraid to get on the phone. To me too. Sometimes, you still get those butterflies and you're not sure what you're going to say or how it's going to go. So it's just, really getting out there and doing it. So it's about taking action, no analysis paralysis, do something today that yourself tomorrow is going to thank you for. So, if you can do it today, don't wait.
There you go. Don't wait. Get started. Jump right into it. Mike, awesome stuff. Thanks for hopping on the show. Thanks for taking time out of your night away from family to provide the ultimate value to all the fans, everybody that's watching out there, the entire Hive community that I know is seeing this on their Facebook group. So, Mike, thanks so much. Thank you for coming on.
Great. Thank you, Al. Always a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, see you soon. I hope to see you at the Hive Summit. I'll see you there.
Absolutely. I'll be there.
All right. See you soon. Wow. Jam-packed with lots of information, lots of things in land, partnerships, scaling your business and hiring VAs, work-life balance, and also some little tips and tricks at the end about TikTok marketing and dispoing land and what are some things that you can do, some things that you can implement when you use TikTok or use maybe Reels or any other type of social media form that you have. So if you missed it, you got to go back and check out the full episode. You just jumped in. Love everybody participating. Love the Hive Mind community that is watching out there. I really, really appreciate it. We want to bring you the best value on the show. And it's incredible when we have guests like Mike Novak, the Mike Novak, that can talk about all of this stuff when it comes to land and everything. And if you missed it, you got to go on the YouTube channel, because on the YouTube channel, you get the full recording. Once this concludes, you'll get the full recording over there. It's also on Facebook. It's not on Instagram, but it's on Facebook. You can catch it on Twitch before it gets off, but that's not pre-recorded or that's not recorded on there, so you won't see it there. But love that everybody's watching. It's a wrap for tonight. So thanks for participating. And if you want more content like this, make sure you go on the Al Nicoletti YouTube channel, the Facebook business page, the personal page, the Instagram @Attorney Nicoletti, and you can find all the amazing guests on the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, season 1, season 2, season 3, tons of stuff out there. So love you all. Have a great night. I'll see you soon.